Okay, so what we know is that there is a 60-foot ladder leaning against a building, and there's only 8 feet of space at the base. So what that means, let's go ahead and draw a picture. Straight line, because that's going to be our building. And draw a little picture. Why not? Put a little door there, windows, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then there's this 60-foot ladder that is down 60 feet with a base, 8 feet. Okay, now we know we're using the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, and another thing to note is that's a 90-degree angle. So if you want to piss off your teacher, whenever you see a triangle and you're asked to use the Pythagorean theorem, go ahead and draw a little square there if you have the ability to do so, because that means that you know that you're working with a right triangle. It's just a way to sass a teacher without doing anything. All right, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, now first off, what we're going to want to do is we're going to try to look and see what do we actually know to help solve with this equation, because we got to find out how tall is that. Okay, so what we know is this right here is the hypotenuse. The longest line of a right triangle is going to be your hypotenuse no matter what. Okay, and this is just another line, and this is just another line. So the hypotenuse is always C. So C equals 60 feet. Let's go ahead and call this A, and let's go ahead and call this B. So what we know for sure is C is 60 feet, B is 8 feet, and we need to figure out what A is, right? Okay, so we know A squared plus B squared equals C squared, right? Okay, now we got to figure out for A. Okay, before we put any numbers in, let's try to solve this right here for A. Okay, A squared, or let's go ahead and scratch it out. We got to remove B from that side of the equation. B squared, B squared. So we get A squared equals C squared minus B squared. Okay? This is the exact same thing as this. You're just solving for A. So let's get rid of that squared. Throw a radical on top of both of those. So A equals C squared minus B squared. Okay? So A equals, let's go ahead and put the radical up, and we're going to put a parenthesis around this because why not? C squared minus B squared. Okay? Oh, which is 8. My bad. So it's 8 squared. Okay? So let's pull out the trusty scientific calculator. All right. So, 60 squared is C, right? So, caret 2. Okay? If you need help, more help with the scientific calculator part, I can help you with that too. So 3,600. Okay, so we know 3,600. Keep in the parenthesis minus 8 squared. Now 8 squared, 8 second. No, my bad. 8 caret 2. Right there, 64, which makes sense. 8 times 8 is 64. So let's go back down here. 64. Okay? Now let's go back up here. Now, we have all this information. Let's go ahead and get 360 and subtract 64. Or 3,600, I'm sorry, and subtract 64. So let's go up here. 3600. Oh, no. 3600 minus 64. That's going to be 35/36. So A equals the square root of 35/36. Now, it's asking for this information in decimals, which when I was growing up, I had to break that number down by hand, and I wasn't allowed to use decimals. That it's called using a number tree, and that's a whole different animal on its own. If you are being required to use that, I can definitely show you how to do it. It's really easy. It just takes a minute. But anyway, we already know A equals the square root of 35/36. So let's go to our calculator. Clear. And then we go second and go where the x squared is, because we need that radical sign. See? We just put a radical on there. And then 35/36. And then put a parenthesis. You don't need one, but I like to do it just to make order correct. And hit enter. Now it says here the number equals 59.46427. Let's go ahead and stop. Okay, now let's take a look at that. 59.46. It says to stop at 2. And we can, because this number right here is under 5. Okay, if it's 5 or above, you have to round this number up. But since that's not the case, we can just scratch that out. The answer is 59.46. A is 59.46 feet. Don't forget that part, because if your teacher's as fun as she sounds, she may take off points if you don't put feet. Now, yeah, that's how tall that part underneath the ladder is. So that's 59.5 feet. It's a 60-foot ladder going out 8 feet. So yeah, it's 59.46 feet up the building. If you have any questions about anything I did, please ask.